Ever since the first Tron movie hit screens back in 1982, fans have dreamed of what it would be like to ride a Lightcycle. Well, with Tron Ares arriving in theaters, Chris and I have decided to make that dream a reality. This is Prop Shop. For this activation, we're heading to Fanboy Expo in Orlando, Florida. And we're not just building a single prop. We want to create a full fan experience. And that means that Chris and I are going to need to think well outside the box on this one. So, I see that you got a second enormous printer.
Yep, I have a second Elegoo Orange Storm Giga here, so jobs should go twice as fast.
That's good, especially since we've got this new Tron Ares build coming, right?
Right. We have to print an entire
Lightcycle, right. And you're already working with Juan on the 3D models.
Yep. So I've seen some of the early models. They look great.
Awesome.
And so, there's lots of detail on them. And I think being able to split them between these two printers, we might actually meet our deadline.
Awesome. Okay, so now we always are into creating an environmental experience for fans.
Yep.
And we had talked about, so the bike is there, people can get on it, but we want to bring them into the world of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
So how can we make them feel like they're on the bike? And we talked about a projection screen, but didn't know if it was vibrant enough.
Right, because it's going to be in a convention center and there's lots of ambient light. It would be an enormous projector to be bright enough. So through our partnership with BrightSign, we've been able to work a deal with Elite Displays, who make giant LED screens. So think Las Vegas Strip.
Right, yeah.
Right. And they're going to donate for our use a 13 by 13 foot LED screen.
Wow. I mean, that's definitely going to be bright enough to do the dynamic nature of like nighttime street moving.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it might actually help with another idea that I have for this.
Okay,
so giant 13-foot LED screen. So, the recognizer ship from Tron.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
okay.
Floating. Yeah.
Right. So I've always loved that design. And I was trying to figure out how to work one into this. So what if we made a frame around the screen that was the recognizer?
Ambitious.
I think I can do it. I've got some ideas. I think I might use like something light, pink insulation foam, and something rigid on the inside. I even have an idea for how to construct it in a way that we won't have to use any ladders to stand it up.
Oh, that would be nice.
Right?
That's especially going to conventions and
right. Correct.
Yeah.
I'm going to let you get to the 3D printing of it all, and I'm going to go work on the recognizer. And then as you've got parts that are finishing up off of the printer and have them assembled, bring them over and we'll start doing finishing, painting, and the rest of that to assemble them. So, awesome.
Great.
Because we've never attempted to build anything at the scale of the recognizer, and before we buy a bunch of materials, I created a rough 1/12 scale model of the structure out of foam board. This will give me a physical reference as we build the full-scale parts. The building materials for this part of the activation will be mostly 1-inch thick pink insulation foam. This is relatively inexpensive and is very easy to cut and glue together into the shapes we want. However, the downside of this is that it can be very fragile. It can dent and even break. So we'll provide reinforcing on the inside to help hold its shape across the 3 nearly 8-foot tall leg sections. To build these parts, we used the scale model references and simply scaled up all the parts to the 8-foot sheets of foam. Most glues will just eat through this material. We tested many different adhesives, but the most effective was PVA glue and Gorilla Glue. Neither of those set extremely fast, so we leveraged a lot of woodworking techniques, including a lot of clamps. With the leg construction underway, it's time to discuss my plan to assemble this without any ladders. This plan starts with an internal structure that'll provide the stability we need to support the recognizer. The lowest section of the structure is a heavy wooden base, roughly 4.5 feet tall, that will fit inside the foot of each of the recognizer legs. This part is critical, as it'll house the mount for the support beams that run the entire height of the legs. This 2-inch diameter PVC pipe is held in place by an industrial hinge that allows the legs to pivot forward at the recognizer's ankles. With the pipe hinged forward on the ankles, we can then easily slide the lightweight pink insulation foam parts onto the pipe from the ground. Then we just lever the legs back up into their upright position without ever getting on a ladder. With the plan for the legs locked in, we have one more important part to fabricate: the cockpit section that'll span between the two legs and needs to be 13 feet in the air above the giant LED screen. We originally worked on a pink insulation version of this part in the same way we had for the legs. But at over 14 feet wide, it was just a little too likely to crack under the pressure of its own weight. So we transformed the pink insulation build into a mold for a fiberglass version. We leveraged photosetting resin with standard fiberglassing mat to quickly coat the full piece. To add additional support for mounting this enormous part, we fiberglassed a 1-inch PVC pipe along the entire length with large steel grommets at either end as connecting points. After finishing the fiberglass work, we had to pull that off of the insulation foam. With a bit of cleanup and sanding, we were ready to cover this piece and all the pink insulation parts with their Tron-inspired covering. All of these parts are extremely large, and most covering options, including painting, would take a lot of work and likely not give us the type of otherworldly grid look we're attempting to achieve. Luckily, I found some inexpensive material that looked both great and made covering the parts very easy. At a local hardware store, I found some awesome looking weed guard material. The texture of this material is just perfect for the giant Tron parts, as it has both textured and glossy geometric designs that match the look and feel that we're aiming for these pieces. We used spray adhesive and Mod Podge to secure the material to the parts. The last step of finishing these parts was to add strips of LED lights to each of the sections, completing the look of the giant recognizer. I'm very pleased with how these turned out and can't wait for fans to see this thing. Before we can bring this to fans, we have to solve one last engineering challenge. We have the hinged leg units and we have a 14-foot cockpit part. But how do we get that huge cockpit raised into place 13 feet into the air without using ladders? Now, pulleys, of course. So we mounted pulleys at the top of each of the 2-inch PVC pipe supports inside the legs. Once the legs are raised into place, we'll connect the ends of the cockpit to pieces of rope over pulleys and raise the part to the correct height. At least that's the plan. To verify this, we installed the pulleys and did a test with just the top portion of the leg units on the wooden bases. The three of us were easily able to get the cockpit piece up into place.
Lower this down. Lowering. I mean, it doesn't get any easier than that.
No, it's got to go higher, but that's perfect.
That's how that works.
While my team was working on the recognizer, Chris was working with our amazing 3D artist Juan Hernandez on a model of the Tron Lightcycle.
We planned to 3D print almost the entire Lightcycle, so we called our friend and 3D artist Juan Hernandez. We had worked with him before, and we knew that he could model the bike from just a handful of reference photos. Since we started early, there wasn't much material out there, but as expected, he absolutely nailed it. The Lightcycle is huge, and huge printers were going to be needed to print most of these parts. Thankfully, I had recently added a second large printer to my shop. Each printer has a print area that is 31 by 31 by 39 inches. The wheels for the Lightcycle would just fit. All of the large parts of the Lightcycle were printed on my large printers, while smaller detailed parts were printed on some of my smaller printers. To speed things up, I decided to split the wheels in half. This would reduce the amount of support material, and I could print one half of the wheel on one printer and the other half on the other. I decided to print most of the Lightcycle hollow with 3mm thick walls. This would allow us to reinforce the inside with fiberglass and expanding foam, making the print far more durable than 3D printed parts alone. My printers ended up running almost 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for over 6 weeks. For the most part, everything printed fine. There were a couple of spaghetti failures, but I generally caught them early and in most cases was able to recover and save the print. pretty amazing what you can do with a hot glue gun and a popsicle stick.
As Chris finished up each of the parts, they were handed back off to my shop to prepare them for painting and assembly. For the front and rear wheels, we start by smoothing out the remaining imperfections with Bondo and sanding. Then we apply filler primer and their final coats of paint. For the base connecting it to the floor, we built a heavy wooden structure from 3/4 inch plywood. We then leveraged sturdy bicycle parts for the seat and internals for the handlebar supports. We also strengthened parts like the chest rest with fiberglass steel rods and high-density foam filling. As a special surprise and delight element, we also added spring action to the clutch and the front brake levers on our Lightcycle hand grips. Once all the parts were assembled, they were returned to Chris's place to complete the electronics. Chris, this is looking great.
You like it? Yeah.
Yeah, so obviously you've printed all the parts. We took it, painted it, got it assembled onto our wooden base for support, and now you've been playing with getting all the electronics connected?
Yes. So we've got a lot of lights in here.
Okay.
So we have lights on this panel. We have lights in here. We have our power source, which is a different kind of light.
Okay.
And of course, we got all of the same on the other side.
Perfect.
And then all of the cables, electricity, power supply, all sit inside this base.
The base. Okay.
We also have cables coming out the front and out
I see
the
one in the back
to light up the wheel. So it'll
connect.
supply.
Okay. So the entire electronic package will be inside.
Everything is inside here.
That's perfect. That's awesome. And then, can I turn it on? Can we see what it looks like? Is a switch? Okay.
Flip that switch.
Oh wow! I really like the power source. How did you get it to do what looks like it's oscillating?
Yeah. So it's like a NeoPixel LED strip, and I just programmed it to chase. So when I
you wound it around. Oh yeah.
Looks like I love that. Up and down this.
That's great. Definitely gives it a pulsing like power source feel to it. I know you talked about some extra things that you were going to do. What were those that you were thinking about?
So one of the things I want to do is I want when people sit on it and it starts, I want it to feel like it's actually moving, like it's riding like a vibration. So I got a transducer to sit inside here.
So it'll vibrate the bike.
It'll vibrate the bike.
Oh, that's cool. That's very cool.
And when they hit the button and they start the experience, the bike itself will vibrate. The handlebars will have a hum to them.
Wow. And you said audio too, right? So
there will be audio. Yep. So we've mixed a nice sound of what we think a light bike would sound like.
Right.
I think it all has come together really well, and it looks good, it sounds good, and I can't wait to button it all up together.
Well, we have one more thing we had talked about, and that is getting the feel of like rushing down the highway streets. So I picked up an industrial fan that I'm hoping that the bright sign can go ahead and turn on with the rest of the experience so that they get wind in their face as they're streaking along the city streets.
Yeah, super easy to do. We'll connect that to a relay power switch and GPIO and turn it on. Couldn't be easier.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to let you button everything up here. We'll get the wheels, the base, and everything set up all in one place and just see the whole thing working.
I'm looking
That's the
forward
next
to that.
step.
Yeah,
all right.
That's going to be awesome.
At the heart of this build is a BrightSign media player that is controlling everything. I opted to use the BrightSign's top-of-the-line player, the XC4055. It has far more power and capability than we needed for this project, but it's commonly used with LED video walls like the one that we have sitting behind our Lightcycle. In addition to supplying the footage for the LED wall, it was also controlling the lights on the ground as well as a giant fan that would blow on the rider. The floor lights were controlled by an Arduino that plugged into the BrightSign's USB port. The fan was plugged into a power strip that has a built-in relay, and that was connected to the BrightSign's GPIO. This was all triggered by a remote button that was also plugged into the BrightSign's GPIO. Once someone got on the Lightcycle and their cameras were recording, all we had to do was press the remote button and the entire activation would run.
After Chris finished all the electronics, we assembled the three main sections onto a wooden base. This would hold the entire structure together for both shipping and the activation.
Chris, we've got it all assembled.
What
do you think?
It's impressive. I mean, I know it's hours and it's rude to say it's impressive, but it's impressive.
I really am happy with it. Given the amount of time that we had to put it together, this is pretty exciting. We're ready to turn it on?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, all right. Let me see if I can kick it on here. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, look at that. Look at that. I mean,
okay, that's...
I think it's going to get some attention at the show, maybe.
All right, so I want to test the fan.
Okay.
With the experience. Do you mind getting on the
You want
bike?
to get on? Sure.
All right, I'm going to let you get on the bike. All right. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely get that feel of motion, right?
Yeah. And with a giant
LED screen behind us, right?
Yeah. This is great. This is really, really spectacular.
Yeah.
I think people are going to love it.
Seeing this put together for the first time is incredible. It's so exciting to see all the parts that we worked so hard to replicate come together to make this amazingly stunning movie vehicle. And now it's time to take this to Fanboy Orlando and let fans experience their own ride on a Lightcycle. Fanboy Expo is hosted at the stunning Orange County Convention Center. And once we arrived, we dove into setting up our Regal booth. We started with the recognizer, which has to be stood up before we could build the 13-foot LED screen. Once that was set up, Elite Displays got to work building their amazing 13-foot tall LED backdrop.
So we are here at Fanboy Expo. We have the booth set up, and you have brought an amazingly cool digital display behind our activation. Can you tell me a little bit more about the screen that we've got?
Absolutely, John. My name is Cece. I'm with Elite Displays. What we have here is a 1.9 millimeter small pixel pitch fine definition LED.
Okay.
We have something called a color shift protecting technology. What that means is even when you're standing at directly 180 degrees, you're still going to see a great viewing angle, and that's because of our 8-pin special design 2-in-1 diode. So we're only the best for Regal.
Wow. So when people are capturing the activation from different angles, there's no distortion because of this technology.
Absolutely.
Wow. So who would use a screen like this in general? Like not when it's not behind our Lightcycle.
Right. So when you are filming any type of TV shows, commercials, broadcast quality, this is the type of product you want for it, or any type of event or showcasing where you know a lot of cameras, you know, whether it's
from
cell
different
phones,
angles
correct,
are going to be there.
Yeah, exactly. Cell phones, live video camera is going to be looking at the display because you want to make sure the scan rates, refresh rates are all going to be in sync to whatever you're showcasing.
So this is like the digital backdrops they're using in production right now.
Absolutely.
Wow, I feel very special that we've got something of that quality. So this is 13 feet tall and 13 feet wide. How many panels is this?
We're looking at about 64 panels. Each panel is about 1.5 feet by 1.5 feet.
Wow. We watched them put it together. It's very, very impressive. Okay, and I know it seems really bright and vibrant, but I know we told you to keep bringing the light down so it doesn't blow out the activation, but this can go way brighter than this, right?
Yes. So right now we are playing at about 30 to 40% brightness. So at 100%,
Wow.
we're definitely going to be a lot brighter than this.
That is awesome. Okay, so where are you headquartered, and what do you do when you're not doing Lightcycle backdrops?
Well, we are in Las Vegas.
Okay.
We've been native for about 20 years.
Great.
We do all kinds of turnkey activities and projects, from obviously light cycles with you guys to all kinds of sports books, spectaculars on Las Vegas Boulevard, and so much more. So we have all kinds of interior and exterior product lines, and we're really a turnkey group that can bring any type of solution to you guys.
Well, you've shown that. This is amazing. We really appreciate it. Thank you for being our partner on this.
Absolutely.
And we look forward to doing something again with you.
Yes, we love you, John.
And then it was time to have fans experience their own ride on a Tron Ares Lightcycle. While Chris and I always love to see fans interact with our replica props and activations, this one was extremely special. Because fans got to immerse themselves so deeply in the world of Tron in such a physical way, they seemed to be even more excited by the experience. And none of this would be possible without our amazing technology partners in Bright Signs and Elite Displays. What a special experience. Chris and I feel very lucky to have built something that brought fans into a movie like Tron Ares. And now, you can also experience the full-speed adventure of Tron Ares at Regal Theaters. This movie was filmed for IMAX, so to see it in all of its glory, find a Regal IMAX near you, and we'll see you at the movies.